discuss some MCQs of biology. So without wasting time, let's start the questions. The first question is ATP are formed in. So basically ATP is known as the energy currency of our body and its full form is adenosine triphosphate. As the name suggests, there are 3 phosphate bonds in this molecule. Now what is the importance of these phosphate molecules? Now the important thing about these is that they are high energy phosphate bonds. Energy is very high, and whenever these bonds are broken, high amount of energy is released, which is used into different processes which are occurring in our body. So now there comes an alternative question to this, which is which organelle is known as the powerhouse of the cell? Now everyone remembers this question and its answer also, that it is the mitochondria. Now basically here the question is altered a bit. Mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of cell because ATP generation activities takes place inside mitochondria, or I can also say the respiration activities, because respiration is basically the oxidation of different food substances and release of energy. So all these things are interrelated, and the answer to all these questions, whether which cell organelle is the powerhouse of cell, where the respiration activities takes place, or in which cell organelle respiration activities occur, and ATP, or the question may be where ATP are formed. For all these questions, the answer is option B, that is mitochondria. So at a time, we have solved at least 3 questions or 3 alternatives to this question. Now the second question is the usual one. You will see this question in maximum competitive exams and it is asked repeatedly. The powerhouse of cell is mitochondria. So option A is correct. Now question number 3, what takes place in shoot apex? So shoot, the above ground part of a plant is known as shoot. Now basically here we are talking about the kind of division which occurs in the shoot apex. So I would like to tell you a very important thing about meiosis. Meiosis is a kind of division. So whenever meiosis occurs, the chromosome number, they are reduced to half. So meiosis, it is also known as reduction division. Why reduction? Because there is a reduction in the set of the chromosomes. And mitosis is the division which is known as equivalent division or equational division. That means here the number of chromosome will remain same, just the number of cells will increase. So the meiosis kind of process, they occurs when we need to form gamete cells. But what is asked to you? Shoot apex, and there is no formation of gametes in the shoot. So the correct answer will be mitosis. Amitosis is a kind of asexual reproduction. It is not a kind, it is a division, but because shoot apex, shoot is something which we call for angiosperms, which are the developed forms, and asexual reproduction is usually not present there. Question number 4 is meiosis occurs, and as I have told you, remember one simple thing, meiosis occurs when you have to form gametes. So basically let's check the option shoot apex. There is no formation of gametes here. In case of flower bud, the male gamete or the female gamete or both, they are present in the flower bud. So here because of the formation of gametes, meiosis will take place. So correct answer is option B. Now question number 5, which of the following has prokaryotic cell? Now what do you understand by prokaryotic? Pro means primitive and karyon, it is another name for nucleus. So you have to identify the organism where the nucleus is of primitive type. So basically there are some differences between eukaryote and prokaryote. Now let me tell you, in prokaryotic cell, the nucleus is not enclosed within a nuclear membrane. That means nuclear membrane is absent. Apart from that, nucleolus is also absent. Nucleolus is a structure which is present inside nucleus, and these two characters, they are said to be the characters of a true nucleus, and U denotes true. So both these characters are absent in prokaryotic cell. And now the question, example of prokaryotic cell. So basically the Monera kingdom, the first kingdom under Whittaker's classification, it consists of the prokaryotic organisms, and the sole members of Monera are bacteria. So the answer to this question will be bacteria, that is option A. Cyanophyceae, also known as blue-green algae, they are a kind of algae, and algae are classified under green plants, plantae kingdom. So they are not prokaryotic. Fungi, they are also eukaryotic. Moving on to the next question. The sugar component of RNA is. So the sugar component I have told you in the DNA. First of all, go to the full form of both these words. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid and RNA is ribonucleic acid. So as the name suggests, the sugar in RNA is ribose sugar. And the answer is option A. Now question number 7, dash is the male organ of lichen. So first of all, what is lichen? Lichen is the symbiotic association between algae and fungi. Okay. So what are the advantages of this symbiotic association? Basically, algae prepares food for fungi and whatever requirements are there, like maybe nutrients, maybe water or any kind of thing for food preparation, they are provided by fungi to the algae. Now the question here is, what is the name of the male organ in lichens? So the male gamete, it is usually known as sperm, whether they are plant or they are animals. So the organ in which sperm development takes place, it is known as spermatogonium. So the correct answer is option A. Okay. Next question, E. coli is found in. The full name for E. coli is Escherichia coli. It is a kind of bacteria. Now there is a statement which I don't know you have heard it or not. Escherichia coli, they are also known as a flora to our body. Why they are known as flora? Because there are some parts of our intestine, basically large intestine, in which they are formed like colon etc., where they are helpful in different kinds of activities. They are not causing any kind of diseases to us, but they are helpful in different activities. So they are resident to our intestine. So the correct answer is option C. Question number 9. Bacterium are stained by. So what is the requirement? Why do we stain bacteria? So basically we study a lot about bacteria, how they cause diseases and a lot of things. And we all know bacteria, they are microscopic organisms and it's not necessary that all bacteria contain some color. So we stain them and after that we see them under the microscope. So there is an important staining technique for bacterium on the basis of which a classification is also present for bacterium, which is known as the gram staining. So the bacteria which take the gram stain, they are known as gram positive bacteria, and the bacteria which are unchanged even after staining, they are known as gram negative bacteria. So the staining technique for bacterium will be gram. That is option A. And it's named gram after the name of the scientist who discovered that staining technique. Question number 10. What are spherical bacteria? So according to the shape of bacteria, they are classified into 4 types, which are coccus, bacillus, vibrio and spirillum. Cocci are basically spherical in shape. Bacillus are rod-shaped bacteria. Vibrio, they are comma-shaped bacteria, and spirillum, they are spiral in shape. So these are 4 kinds of bacteria. Now the question is, what are spherical bacteria? So without any doubt, they are cocci or coccus. Now question number 11, Dash gave the germ theory. First of all, what is the germ theory? Now, there were many theories related to how diseases are spread or how they reach to us or how we get infected by a diseases. So, germ theory, it explains that the infections which we encounter, maximum of them are due to microorganisms. Now, this is a completely accepted theory. We all know that different kinds of bacteria, fungi and many other microorganisms, they cause diseases. And this theory, it was given by Louis Pasteur. And the correct answer is option B. As only the Pasteur is mentioned, it's also right. Question number 12 is the name bacteria it was given by. So previously when we only initiated studying bacteria, then they were named as animalcule by a scientist. But as it was not a proper name, so afterwards the name bacteria was given by the scientist Ehrenberg. And the meaning of bacteria is small rods. Now what do you understand by small? It means small sticks. Now according to me, this name is given because it's possible that Ehrenberg saw the bacillus kind of bacteria which are rod shaped, and when we arrange them we can also call it as a stick because they are somewhat cylindrical in shape. So the correct answer is option C. Now question number 13. Bacterium root nodule is, or bacterium root nodule contains which bacteria? Now this is an important question, and everyone remembers that in the root nodule the most commonly found bacteria is Rhizobium. Now if you will not pay attention to the options, you will take option first, which is Rhizonium, and it is not even the name of any bacteria. So the correct answer is option D. So be patient while taking the answers. Question number 14 is, what is bacterial nucleus? Now bacteria, as I have told you, is an example of a prokaryotic cell, and in prokaryotic cell nuclear membrane is absent, nucleolus is absent, and the DNA, it is found spread randomly in the whole cell. Okay, so this kind of nucleus is known as an incipient nucleus or a primitive kind of nucleus. So the correct answer to this is option B. Question number 15 is, which viruses are parasites? So first of all, what do you understand by parasite? Parasites are organisms which depend on different organisms which are known as host to that parasite, and that dependency is either for food or for water or for both food and water. When they are completely dependent on their host, then they are known as complete parasite, and if they are partially dependent, that is maybe for the requirements of food they need their host, then we will call them as the partial parasites. Okay, so this is a basic classification. Now, which kind of viruses will be known as parasites? Now, what do you mean by obligate, facultative? These are two terms which you will face repeatedly in biology. Obligate means something which do not have any other option, or I can say the complete parasite also for them. Now viruses which have no other option, they are completely dependent on their host, and they are known as parasite themselves. So the correct answer is obligative. Now facultative viruses, they have a property that if a host is not present, they can generate their own food by different means. Okay, so the correct answer is option A. Now question number 16, who was Ivanovsky? Now according to me the question what did Ivanovsky discover is more important. So actually the viruses were discovered by Ivanovsky, and he is a Russian botanist. So the correct answer is option B. Question number 17 is, dash are used for preparing drugs. So lichens, they are used for preparing drugs, and they are also used in different kinds of diseases. In some places it is also used for treating cancers. So the correct answer is option C. Now here's the explanation. They are used in cases of dyspepsia and loss of appetite, and in European folk they are also used to treat cancer. Now question number 18, fungal component of the lichen is. Now here the scientific term for the fungal component is asked. So lichen, we all know it is composed of algae and fungi. Algae is known as phycobiont and fungi is known as mycobiont. Myco is a term which is used for fungi itself. So the correct answer is option C, that is mycobiont. Question number 19, fungal wall is made up of. So basically cell wall, it is present in fungi and also in plants. So let's have a look at the composition of the cell wall of both of these animals. In case of fungi, in both these organisms, in case of fungi it is made up of chitin, it is a polymer, and in case of plants it is made up of cellulose. So now the question is about fungi, and the correct answer will be option B. Question number 20 is, structure of bacteria is. Now bacteria again is a prokaryotic organism, and they are way simpler than eukaryotic organisms. So for sure the structure is simple. So the correct answer is option C. Question number 21 is, dash is the algal component of lichen. So the fungal component was mycobiont and the algal is phycobiont. The correct answer is option C. Question number 22. Water enters the root from the soil by the process of. So what is the process by which water enters the plant? So I have told you about diffusion, osmosis, all kinds of process. So we all know that when water absorption occurs by the root, then water flows from its high concentration to its low concentration. Now the important thing or the basic difference between osmosis and diffusion is of the semi-permeable membrane. Now the question is whether a semi-permeable membrane is present in the root or not. So we all know that cell wall is also present in the cells of plants, and cell membrane is also present. Now cell wall, it has to do nothing with the substances which are entering the cell or leaving the cell. It just provides them the structure of the cell and the stability. Cell membrane is something which is usually semi-permeable. Now some exceptions are there according to the location. If some requirement is present, then they are additionally sometimes not, they are not sometimes semi-permeable, but usually they are semi-permeable. So as a semi-permeable membrane is present here, so the process will be osmosis, and the correct answer is option B. Question number 23. The age of a tree can be found out by. So usually the age of a tree, it is determined by, now at the lowest part of the stem, a circular portion is taken out from the stem, and when we notice that circular portion, different rings are present, and these rings, they are formed annually. So by using those rings, we can determine the age of the tree. Now these rings, they are formed due to some secondary development in the trees, and which is somewhere related to the xylem and phloem. We will not go into it. Just remember, the age of a tree is calculated by the number of annual rings which are present in the stem or in the core part of the stem. The first option is by measuring its diameter. No, it is not a reliable thing to determine the age of a tree. By measuring its length, of course not. By counting the number of annual rings in the core of the trunk. Yes, this option is correct. Question number 24. Bacteria are they harmful or useful? So according to me and according to science itself, bacteria are both harmful and useful. Why? Because you don't know the uses of bacteria till now, because you have only studied that this kind of bacteria causes this disease and this causes this disease. Apart from that, I have told you one example today itself about E. coli. It is again a bacteria and still a flora found in our intestine, and it is somewhere useful to us. Apart from that, in the curdling of milk, a bacteria known as lactobacillus is found, which is also useful to us because it converts milk into curd. Apart from that, while making idli, dosa, etc., some bacteria are also sometimes used there for fermenting. Usually yeast is used, but apart from that, some bacteria can also perform the function. Now, there are different bacteria called streptococcus which are used to dissolve heart clots, or they release some kind of substances which dissolve heart clots. So, there are many uses of bacteria, and apart from that, we are using bacteria to yield substances according to us, like in biotechnology. So, the correct answer is option C, that is, they are both harmful and useful. Question number 25 is relationship within the same species is known as. Now we all know in each scientific name there is a genus, and under the genus there are a lot of species, and under one species itself there are many organisms. For example, Homo sapiens. We are Homo sapiens. Our genus is Homo and species is sapiens. Under the sapiens species we see a lot of human beings. Okay. And there are many relations between these human beings, and we call this as the intraspecific relationship. So the correct answer will be option C. Now moving on to question number 26. Sorridia. What is Sorridia? Actually, in case of lichens, when they reproduce asexually, then substructures are formed through which they reproduce asexually, and they are known as Sorridia. And the correct answer is option C. Now here is the explanation. Sorridia, they are common reproductive structures, and when lichens reproduce asexually, they either reproduce by fragmentation or by the production of Sorridia and Isidia. Now the next question for today. In such relations, if both the individuals are benefited, they are. Now there are many relationships between different kinds of population, different organisms, in which some of them are benefited, some are harmed, in which some stay neutral. Now the question is, you have to identify the kind of relationship where both the individuals are benefited. Now the example to this is mutualism, and the example, as I have told you repeatedly, is of the lichen, where both the species both the organisms, they are benefited. And another example is pollination, where the pollinator and the flower both are benefited. Second is parasitism. In case of parasitism, parasite is benefited and there is a loss to the host. In case of commensalism, it is benefit is provided to one species and the other remains neutral. So the correct answer according to the question is option A. Question number 28 is lichens are made up of. So lichens, they are made up of algae and fungi. And the correct answer is option D, both of these. Question number 29. Relations in which there is neither benefit nor harm are known as. So as I have told you, commensalism, where one species is benefited and the other one stays neutral. So the correct answer is commensalism. Competition is a new example where both the species are harmed. And in case of parasitism and predation, one species is benefited and the other one is harmed. Question number 30. Which of the following is an insectivorous plant? Now, insectivorous plants are plants which grow in parts of the soil where there is nitrogen deficiency, and there are many different kinds of chemicals in insects which make them rich in nitrogen. So basically these plants, they also perform photosynthesis, but they depend on those insects for their nitrogen requirement. So they engulf those insects and finally complete their nitrogen deficiency. There are many examples to insectivorous plant like the Nepenthes, which is known as the pitcher plant. Now in Nepenthes, pitcher-like structures are present in which there are some substances which attract the insect. Now when insect comes inside the pot, then there is a leaf-like structure, lid-like structure which covers it, and finally it is digested and somehow the nitrogen deficiency is completed. So the correct answer is Nepenthes, pitcher plant. Many other examples are also present like Venus flytrap and like Sarcenia, etc. Question number 31. The largest flower in the world. Largest flower is Rafflesia. So the correct answer is option D. Question number 32 is dash helps in soil formation. So now there are many processes in our history when we study about the formation of many kind of biospheres or different types of things in the earth. There are some processes which we call as succession. Now it is believed that there are some places where there was no life was present initially. It was just covered by rocks. And it is not easy to convert that rock land into some fertile land or into some forest. Now these activities, they continue for many years. After many years, they are converted into forest. Now what happens? The first species which inhabit these rocks is the lichen. Now how are lichen important? They grow over these rocks and they cause littering of these rocks, and finally after many years they are converted into small pieces. That means soil formation takes place and it leads to different growth of different kinds of plants afterwards. So the soil formation activity, it is promoted by lichens. So the correct answer is option B. Question number 33. Lichens are important. Lichens are very important ecologically as they perform the algal part which is present in the lichen. It performs photosynthesis. Now many algae, they are presently used as edible algae and they are eaten by a lot of people. And apart from that, as I have told you, they help in soil formation and many other uses are present of algae. So the correct answer is option B. Question number 34 is Vibrio cholerae causes. The disease caused by Vibrio cholerae is cholera. So the correct answer is option A. The rest two are just errors made by spelling smartly, chlorella and chlorella. Okay, but the name of the disease is cholera, sorry. Question number 35 is cell wall of the bacteria is made of. So basically the cell wall of bacteria consists of all carbohydrates, proteins as well as polysaccharides. So the correct answer is option D. Question number 36, still roots. Now I will explain you this with the help of an example, and still roots are present in sugarcane. Now you all have seen sugarcane. If not, let me explain you. At the lower part of sugarcane, just which is above the ground, some some oblique roots are present. Now these roots, they are basically known as still roots, and they always develop from the nodes which are present just above the soil, or I can say in terms of plant, it arises from the lower nodes. So the correct answer is option B, lower nodes. 37 is bacteria reproduce by. So bacteria reproduce asexually by the process of fission. Basically it reproduces by binary fission. So the correct answer is option D. Question number 38. What is rhizobium? We all know rhizobium is a bacteria which is found in the legume plants, and it is found in the root nodule. And what is its function? Its function is fixing nitrogen, because legume plant and rhizobium bacteria, they exist in a symbiotic association, so we can call them as symbiotic or symbionts. So the correct answer is option A. The place where two communities meet. So ecotone is the place where two communities meet. So the correct answer is option B. Now we have studied about it, like the place where rivers and ocean meets. Now both of them, they are aquatic ecosystems, but still there are some differences, which is known as ecotone. Question number 40. Identify the endoparasites. Endoparasites are the parasite which live inside our body, and Ascaris, lumbricoids, Taenia solium, and liver fluke. They all are examples of endoparasites, and they are found in human body. So the correct answer is option D. Question number 41 is dash is pollination by air. Now pollination, it usually occurs by the insect. Maximum pollination occurs through insect, but some part of it also occurs by air. Entomophily, as you know, entomo is the term used for insects, so it occurs due to insects. Anemophily is due to air or wind, and zoophily, it is the pollination due to animals. So the correct answer is pollination by air, and the correct answer is option B, anemophily. 42. Dash is pollination by animals. It's zoophily. Remember it with the example of zoology, where zoo stands for animals, and here also zoo stands for animal, because the meaning of the word is not going to change anywhere. Question number 43. The number of eggs produced by Ascaris at a time. So Ascaris, the female Ascaris, it produces almost 15,000 to 20,000 eggs at a time. It's a very large number, and the correct answer is option C. Question number 44 is dash are called primary consumers. So when we talk about the food chain, the first member of the food chain, they are the producers, or I can say the green plants which perform photosynthesis. Now they are never the consumers. Now the organisms which are directly dependent on the producers, they are either known as, they represent the second trophic level, and they are known as consumers. Now the ones which first of all feed upon the producer, they are known as primary consumer. Then the second one will be known as a secondary consumer. And though the organism which feed on producers, they are also known as herbivores. That means those which are dependent on the green plants. And the correct answer is option C. Question number 45 is parasites living outside the body. So those parasites which live outside the body, they are known as ectoparasite. Examples are lices, ticks, etc. Okay, which are also found on dogs, human beings, both. The correct answer is option A. Question number 46. Parasites that live inside the body, they are known as endoparasite, and examples are Ascaris, Taenia solium, liver fluke, and the correct answer is option C. Question number 47 of the following, which contains respiratory enzyme? Now, as I have told you, the ATP formation, the powerhouse of the cell, or the energy currency formation, the respiration activities, the respiratory enzymes, all are found in mitochondria. Now, there is one more additional very important information related to mitochondria, that it is a two-membraned structure. Now, it is a question which can be asked to you, that tell the name of the cell organelle which have two membrane. Okay. Now question number 48, dash is not present in prokaryotic cell. Again, the example of prokaryotic cell is bacteria, and I have told you the major difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells is related to their nucleus, and in case of prokaryotic cells, the true nucleus is not present. And now what are the characteristics of true nucleus? I have told you presence of nuclear membrane, apart from that presence of nucleolus. They are something which define a nucleus as true nucleus, and these are absent in prokaryotic cell. So the answer will be option C. True nucleus is not present in prokaryotic cell. Now you may confuse here with the thing pigment, whether pigment is present in bacteria or not. So let me tell you, there are many bacteria which are chemotropic, and for them different pigments are present. Although chlorophyll pigment is not present here, but it is not the only pigment in the whole universe. There are many pigments apart from chlorophyll also. Question number 49 is middle lamella is made up of. Middle lamella is present in plants, and it is made up of calcium or magnesium pectate. And the correct answer is option D, that is both A and B. Now the last question is, who gave the cell theory? Now the first cell, it was seen by Robert Hooke. He saw the first cell, and after that the cell theory was given by two different scientists. Now what does the cell theory explain? The cell theory, it explains how new cells are formed, how there is formation of new progeny, and apart from that, what is the differences in the cells of plants and animals. These are some things which are covered under the cell theory, and it was given both by Schildane and Schwann. Why both? Because out of them, one scientist, he was studying over the plants and the other one he was studying on the animals, and we all know there are some basic differences between plants and animals in terms of cell organelles and at the level of cell. So the correct answer here is option C, that is both of the above. Now the explanation is the cell, it was first discovered by Robert Hooke, and it was in year 1665. And the first theory which was credited for cell, it was done by Theodor Schwann and Matthias Jakob Schildane. Now usually Schwann and Schildane, these terms are used and their first names are not used. This much was for today's MCQs. Thank you.